Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you're all ready to get stuck into your plans for 2020. But looking back briefly to the end of 2019, we were finally graced with a new season of The Expanse at its new home on Amazon Prime. And honestly, it's like the hiatus never happened. The production force behind this series and the passionate fanbase have finally been able to take the show to the heights of success it deserves, becoming one of Amazon's most in-demand shows. I have already levied a plethora of positive adjectives of this show in a previous video, and with a show which has been this consistent in quality, this video is less of a review and more of an appraisal of more great things The Expanse has been doing as it continues. Season 4, like every other season before it, looks absolutely stunning. The visual effects, sound design, production design, and music is simply gorgeous all around. It's a real testament to the kind of eye candy The Expanse has delivered in previous seasons that I couldn't even tell when they were switching to anamorphic lenses for the illest sequences. But hey, if you're going to be corrected on Twitter, at least be corrected by people you're a huge fan of. While my technical eye did fail me in that thread, I do still stand by my personal opinion on the aspect ratio switching. In no way does it degrade the quality of the visuals in the show, but I think this kind of switch is best suited to the cinema, where the size of the screen literally shifts before your eyes. Imagine watching these episodes on the big screen and having your entire field of view enveloped by this new alien world. I'd kill to see that. But on the TV screen, however, the effect isn't quite as strong. But while I'd be redundant in heaping more and more compliments onto the production team, seriously, this show should be getting Emmys and Globes thrown at it. What I think is most worth discussing this season is the slate of new characters and the surprising directions returning ones were taken in. Obviously, the new big thing this season is the storyline unfolding on Ilus, the new alien world beyond the ring gates which has been settled by a group of belters. The sheer amount of great new characters and plot elements feels like it's enough to fill an entire spin-off, and I'd love to see many of these new faces return for season 5. The standout for me was Aldous Mercury. Burn Gorman has been one of my favourite That Guy actors for a while now, and I was thrilled to see him added to the cast for season 4. Gorman excels as the bad guy you love to hate. Mercury is a truly despicable kind of antagonist. While loyal to those he considers his own people, his short fuse when it came to literally everyone else made almost every scene he featured in filled to the brim with tension. Whenever things were looking up for the Rocinante crew, you just knew Mercury was going to do something to fuck it all up. I was originally going to say I was with Amos on this one, that he should just be thrown out an airlock, but keeping Mercury alive means we'll be able to see more of this fantastic performance and terrific character in Season 5. Also from the same ship as Mercury was another standout in Lindy Greenwood as Elvie Okoye. She brought a really unique charisma to the scenes and developed a really unique chemistry with the Roci crew. Intensely curious, highly empathetic, but also someone with no time for anyone's bullshit. It's almost frustrating how much of an asset she would be to the Roci crew, and having to wait so long for them to finally properly team up. Honestly, the Ilus side of this season has been stacked with so many great new faces, to name them all would make this video twice as long. Even minor characters with only a few lines are made memorable by great one-off performances. I really hope this setting and its characters become a mainstay for future seasons. The Rocinante crew themselves are possibly the best they've ever been. Having worked together through losing a ship, hunting proto-molecule monsters, pulling covert ops during a planetary war, and messing with crazy powerful alien tech, the characters and actors feel more settled in their roles than ever before. There's a real heartwarming bond between them all, now that they've overcome each other's differences. But with such a large cast to handle, I can forgive Alex being mostly confined to the ship. Mostly because Cass Anvar could make reading a takeout menu entertaining to watch. Back in the native solar system, some surprising but no less compelling plots for Bobby Draper and Ava Sarala. Seeing a down-on-her-luck Draper really gave us an in-depth look at everyday life on Mars, something which has only been hinted at before. I've said before that Draper is one of my favourite characters in The Expanse, if not my favourite overall. Seeing this ultra-badass, ideal Patriot Marine forced out of her own worldview by the events of Seasons 2 and 3 was enthralling. Someone who sees the world in black and white, choosing to side with the more morally grey, wrestling with her own duty to her world, while also attempting to grasp the bigger picture, gave Frankie Adams such a wealth of material to work with in her performance. But the key has always been Draper's blunt personality. She doesn't just wrestle with these moral questions, she dons power armor and battles them to the death. This sense of conviction and responsibility in her actions is what makes her entering the criminal underworld in this season so interesting. For the first time, she knows her actions could be outright not good for Mars, and yet she's in such a desperate situation and Martian society is changing so fast, she's left with little choice. But seriously, can Frankie Adams be given an action movie lead role already? Because she throws down like a pro in these shootouts and fight scenes. Meanwhile, I found Avasarala's storyline similarly interesting. We've never seen this character made this vulnerable before, or gotten such an in-depth look at her personal life. Avasarala has been adept at unraveling conspiracies, doing her part in space battles and going head-to-head with power-hungry megalomaniacs, but in the court of public opinion, she's untested. Nina Gao is also not some cartoon villain, but someone with what viewers can see as a perfectly understandable viewpoint. This is a space opera show after all. Of course we want to see people visiting alien worlds and having adventures. And this debate takes Avasarala to some really vulnerable places which is new to us. But of course her profanity-laced tirades will never stop being welcome. But easily the crowning achievement of the writing of her arc is her leveraging the death of her own son to score points in the polls. It's such a twisted knot of morality. It's hard to pass a judgment on it if it was truly right or wrong. On the one hand, it's truly troubling how deftly Avasarala was able to manipulate the events around her, and yet that is something the character has always been good at. Yet at the same time, Shori Agadujalu's performance is borderline heartbreaking. We believe her when she says she meant what she said at the eulogy for the Marines. Having lost her seat as leader of the UN, just like Draper, I am fascinated with where this character is going to be taken next season. The weaker link for me personally was Ashford and Drummer's plot to clamp down on system piracy. By no means is it bad, but it does feel a tad been there done that. Marco Inaros is a cool new antagonist with, again, some perfectly understandable motivations, but it's no doubt his most interesting developments are to come next season when Naomi is forced to confront him. Despite the larger implications for the future, I felt like there wasn't a hell of a lot for these characters to do most of the time. That is until the finale. While it was sweet to see Ashford John Wick his way through a spaceship, his death scene is as beautifully composed as it is shocking. I think it goes without saying David Strathairn has been a show stealer from his first performance, just like Kara G has been his drummer. Like many characters in the show, Ashford is one of those people we instinctively did not trust, but over time, getting to know what made the character tick endeared him to us in a big way, and to see him willfully face down his own death while singing the space equivalent of a sea shanty was tragic and beautiful. The Illus plot itself is everything I love about this show so far. Ancient alien tech left over from a long-dead civilization? Check. Tension and clashes between competing factions while the world tears itself apart? Check. Skillfully woven character arcs and terrific performances? Check. Stunningly realised spectacle with top-notch presentation and Clinton Shorter's incredible score? Double check. Thomas Jane and Stephen Straight's chemistry has always been good, even back when Miller was actually a human being, and having Miller's original personality restore itself was a real treat. This grumpy detective being the voice and face for much of this bizarre, crazy powerful alien tech was an endlessly fun quirk. Thomas Jane is one of those actors who should be a way bigger star than he is in my opinion, but having him part of The Expanse was awesome, and I hope perhaps one day we can see him return in some form. But if not, hats off to the actor and the writers for creating such a great character. So The Expanse Season 4, did it suck? No, of course not. If there were any fears the show moving to Amazon would somehow affect its quality, those fears should well and truly be put to rest. Not only is it continuing to be probably the best sci-fi show on TV right now, but being on a major streaming platform means it's finally being given the recognition and attention it deserves. Can't wait for Season 5. Jesse Adair asks, which do you prefer, Galactica or Pegasus? Pegasus without a doubt. I know Galactica is the hero ship, but come on, Pegasus has a stunning looking design, it packs one hell of a punch, and can build its own Vipers. The team on that show really did an amazing job with updating this ship from the original. TGAC Productions asks, what are your thoughts on the MCU? Do you think it's cool or forgettable? I've become pretty uninterested in the MCU these days. After seeing Endgame in cinemas, I don't really have any desire to see the others coming after it. I don't think they're bad, but they're just so formulaic and have such uninteresting filmmaking by now. I know people are hyped about the X-Men and Fantastic Four joining the MCU, but I already know what those movies are going to look like, sound like, and feel like. Despite their shakier track record, I'm far more interested in the DC superhero movies, because they're still largely being driven by directors. Aquaman played nothing like Batman v Superman, and Joker played nothing like Wonder Woman or Shazam. I'm genuinely interested to see what the next Batman movie is going to be like, because I know Matt Reeves is actually going to deliver his own take on the material, something which I wish was more common at Marvel. Thank you for watching. If you like my videos, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay up to date on all my new uploads. Over on my Patreon, you can see videos up to a week early for as little as $5 a month. Speaking of which, I'd like to quickly thank all of my patrons who are now appearing on screen. Have a good one, and as always, live long and prosper.